How's it going, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Let's talk World Rugby Rankings. So there's been a couple changes. There's been back and forth, especially with all the rugby that we've been having. I want to break this down. Please stay with me, like and subscribe, and let's break it down. So first up, there hasn't been much change in terms of the top four, and that's mainly because of the teams that they've been playing. South Africa playing up against Italy, because there's more than a 10 position gap. South Africa can't take away points from Italy. New Zealand and France, yes, New Zealand have won both games, but there hasn't been enough to change the rankings. Ireland ended up giving an absolute smacking to Portugal, but again, because of the gap in terms of position, they no points were exchanged there. Big winners though are Australia. They ended up moving from 8th place into 6th, just just nicking that spot from Argentina. They are 0.03 points higher than Argentina. Unfortunately for Argentina, they didn't exactly do too well up against England. Ended up losing 2 on the trot, and that ended up affecting them badly. Now, one of the biggest losers as well was Scotland. Coming from 7th down to 8th. They didn't exactly do too well up against Fiji. Fiji put in absolutely brilliant performances, and obviously that could have affected quite a lot, considering the points difference between Argentina, Scotland, Australia. Australia ended up gaining those places purely from not playing at all, and that's just purely because Argentina and Scotland lost place. They lost points, so that dropped them down below the 82.08 mark, which allowed Australia to jump up, even though they didn't play a single game. We saw this happen with New Zealand, where because of Ireland's record, I think it was in the Six Nations, where Ireland were second, New Zealand were third. Because Ireland ended up losing, they dropped below New Zealand's points, and New Zealand jumped up, and Ireland dropped down into third. But also because of the points that have been won with France, that has given New Zealand a bit of a boost in terms of points. They have 91.72, whereas Ireland have 89.83. They are making that gap a little bit bigger. The points that they've gained haven't been enough to split the gap. South Africa still have a 1.06 lead in front of the All Blacks. Obviously, we are going to be seeing how things go later on in the year. There's gonna be a lot of changes, but the Wallabies, they cannot gain any points from the Lions, or just like South Africa couldn't gain any points from the Barbars. The AUNZ, the First Nation Pacifica, whatever it is. When it's games like this, you can't actually gain any points. It's not, they don't get anything. So all of these games that Australia are going to be having up against the Lions, they're not actually going to get any points in relation to world rankings and things like that. So don't expect any movements there. Now, we did see Wales jump up into 12th from 14th. They finally managed to get their win. They broke that duck, and they've lifted the curse. They finally actually managed to get some points on the board. That decline is no longer there, and they ended up jumping Japan and Samoa. So Japan dropped from 12th place into 14th place. And we've also seen a little bit of changes in relation to Spain and USA, where USA have now dropped to 16th. Spain is up to 15th. But yeah, there's been quite a few changes here. It is looking good, especially the top 10 is always very competitive. There's always going to be a lot of changes, especially just outside that top 4. When we're talking 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10, there's normally, the gaps are relatively low. I mean, if we're looking at from 6th to 10th, yeah, well, 6th to 8th, there's like a 1 point gap. 6th to 9th, 2 point gap, and then 6th to 10th, which is Italy, is a 5 point gap, just over 5 points. So a lot can be earned and lost throughout the season, and it's going to be interesting to see how this changes as we go on. But yeah, there's still a lot up for grabs. I want to hear who you support, what's your team, and where do you think they could be by the end of the season? So let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Please like and subscribe. This is World Rugby Rankings. Let me know. Catch you guys later. Bye.